Hi, I'm Jason Vigo. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bevz, and we're transforming the snack and drink industry through convenience stores. We're going to try. So the problem we identified is that convenience stores across the US will lose $8 billion this year because they don't have the ability to track and manage their inventory, in-store sales, and e-commerce. And that number is predicted to increase by about $1 billion every year for the foreseeable future because the ecosystem is just getting more and more complex. We went to market in January 2020 with a retailer platform that allowed convenience stores to sell products online and a mobile app that allowed their customers to order digitally from them. And we also did several snack and drink brand partnerships and advertising deals. And after working with over 100 convenience stores, we learned three things that changed everything. First, liquor and convenience stores were not tracking inventory, and it was causing a ton of mistakes both in the store and over e-commerce. Two, they wanted to use multiple e-commerce platforms because they wanted to use what their customers were using, but they didn't have the skills or the tools to manage one platform, let alone multiple. And third, we learned what these snack and drink brands really want: data. They want to know what these stores are buying and selling at a hyper-local level, and they didn't have it. So we completely rebuilt Bevz into the first ever software platform for liquor and convenience stores to help them manage their business, specifically focused on automating and integrating their inventory ordering with their in-store sales and their e-commerce. And probably most importantly, tracking robust data across the entire ecosystem. So we have proven traction and success to show that this works. We have multiple robust e-commerce integrations and partnerships with companies like DoorDash and Uber that I'll tell you about in a second. We processed over 15,000 orders through our system, worth almost $1 million in revenue for our convenience stores. We've worked with some of the biggest snack and drink brands in the world, like Anheuser-Busch, and we have $429,000 in annualized revenue. So here's a little more about those partnerships. We have contracts with DoorDash, the Uber portfolio, which includes Uber Eats, Postmates, and Drizzly. And we actually just signed a deal with Grubhub, kind of getting the whole ecosystem. How it works is a convenience store will manage their inventory in the Bevz platform. That is, update an item, remove it, change a price, and that'll automatically showcase on these consumer apps. Then you as the consumer will use your app just like you normally do. It goes to the convenience store, they'll accept the order, communicate with the customer, adjust orders, all through the Bevz platform. So we're giving these convenience stores really a customized one-stop shop to manage all of their e-commerce in one place, which is what we learned they really wanted. And here's the team bringing it to life. So we really understand this market and this customer because my co-founder is our customer. He's owned and operated convenience stores for the last 35 years, and he has relationships and connections in the space that give us an edge against anyone else. I spent my career managing teams and company cultures. I was formerly the head of global employee communications and engagement at Citrix, where I helped 10,000 employees across 44 countries manage their teams, set and execute goals aligned with the company's strategy, and retain top talent. I'm also a second-time founder, and I've managed multiple global operations and marketing teams, and I'm finishing my MBA from UCLA Anderson this year. Jim is our CTO. He's the founding member of Ticketmaster Online. He's also founded and exited a national wine platform, which shows how much he loves the space. And he's an expert in data normalization and API integration, which is the key to our backend. So with that, here's the opportunity that we have at hand. There are over 150,000 convenience stores across the nation. If you've ever been in one, it probably seems pretty small, but together they do $243 billion in annual revenue. They're typically where new products launch and get their footing, but convenience stores are also highly connected to the biggest snack and drink brands in the world, many of what you see on the screen. And really they get these big partnerships because they turn inventory fast and they sell quite a lot of product. And with these trends of hyper-local commerce and ultra-fast delivery, these convenience stores are already on almost every corner across the US, so they're perfectly positioned to support this trend. Another thing I love about this market and this company is how defensible it is. Because we're working with convenience stores who are not typically tech savvy and they have low trust for people outside of their industry, once you get in and you start touching some of their day-to-day operations, it gets really hard to get rid of us. Secondly is we're building more than just a product, we're building a network and a community. And we actually launched an organic Facebook group for convenience store owners, and it reached over 450 members without doing any marketing or promotion. It shows that these convenience stores want accurate, relevant information for their industry, and they want to better connect with other convenience store owners. So we think as we grow and we have this community, it's also really hard for a competitor to replicate. Here's how we make money. I want to be very clear that we are still at the tail end of the pivot that I talked about at the beginning, and we currently charge convenience stores 12% of all of the e-commerce orders that run through their store. But we are pivoting to a subscription model in September of this year, where we will charge convenience stores $50 per month. We've already talked to our current stores, and we've talked to prospective stores. We will work our way up to $300 per month over the next 5 years, really as we add an extensive list of features and services that they really care about. That's our core business, SaaS for convenience stores. Second is partnerships. We've been doing this since day one, and we will continue to do this. We charge snack and drink brands like Anheuser-Busch per store per month. So as we add more stores and we have more data, we'll be able to charge these brands a lot more money. And third, which is on the horizon, is in-store transactions, which means upgrading our platform to include POS capabilities. And so we already have the skill set and the team to do it. It's just a matter of when, not if. There are a lot of associated costs with POS capabilities, but a lot of revenue opportunities. So what this shows is in a 5-year time frame, we can be a 256 million ARR company. And so lastly is our competition. The truth is there is nobody else building a customized software platform for convenience stores, but that doesn't mean we don't have competitors. So our primary competitors are alcohol industry technology companies. For example, Probi helps digitize online ordering for retailers. They're primarily in restaurants and bars, but they can definitely go into convenience stores, and there's someone to keep an eye on. Second are companies like Bottle Cap, Swigs, City Hive. These companies build custom branded e-commerce platforms for retailers. The problem is for a typical convenience store, it's really expensive and a little bit too robust for one of these stores, but some of our better stores have shown interest in these platforms. Second tier is POS systems. So POS systems really struggle to scale because they're hardware first, they are expensive, but a lot of these companies have a lot of financial backing. They're building some pretty great features. And once they do get into a convenience store, they're hard to get rid of too. So we have to stay focused on them. And so with that, we are raising a $500,000 pre-seed round. We have 400,000 of that already committed. So really looking to just close that out. We're doing a convertible note, a 5 million post-money valuation cap, 20% discount, and a 9% interest. And with that money, we're looking to more than double the number of convenience stores we have, really focus on building technology and integrations, hit that 1 million ARR, and then raise a larger seed round at the beginning of next year. So that's Bevz. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we asked a question.
Yeah.
So initially, you mentioned that snack and beverage companies have a tough time really getting the information as to. Can you explain that to me? I don't understand. They know what they're selling. How is it that they're not getting the information?
Yeah, they know what they're selling. They don't know macro trends. They don't know what other people are doing. And they still haven't fully predicted what's being sold because it's still the lack of inventory tracking. So average convenience store doesn't know what they're selling because they just kind of sell. So they want better data to be fully accurate on what they're selling. But secondly, they want trends. So one example would be Anheuser-Busch came when they launched Bud Light Seltzer. And so they know what they're selling, but they're not selling any seltzer. So they're trying to buy data from Nielsen or other people. And what would be incredible is if we had 30,000 convenience stores across the nation, and I can tell them where are seltzers increasing, where are they not, which stores are better, which stores sell more wine, beer, stuff like that. So yeah, they have a lot of their own data, no question, but still a gap.
I get it.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the revenue slide, excuse me.
Yeah.
I had a question with your last, as it pertains to your last
revenue slide.
Yeah. So in-store transaction, what exactly is that?
Yeah. So it'd be credit card.
Away from charging. So you guys are going to bring that back?
Yes. As part of in-store transaction, this would be credit card related. So what we can do is as we have bulk and we're offering, let's say 10,000 convenience stores a POS capability, what we can negotiate with the credit card companies is lowering the fees and take a small margin, 1 or 2%. So yeah, what we want, our focus is to be a SaaS company. It's more predictable, but this is an opportunity just because still the bulk of buying goes in the store right now. So it's about 85%. If a store's doing well in e-commerce, it's even less. So the idea being a tiny margin here, and our goal still to be bringing back a lot of those fees back to the store because right now they pay a lot more in fees. But yeah, good question.
Just one
Keep
more
coming.
question. So when you're calling on a store, what's the typical time to convert them from the first call to a client?
Yeah, it takes 2 to 3 weeks. Right now it's phone calls. We'll do, I mean, we have a kind of multifaceted go-to-market, but in terms of kind of our more sales development to sales acquisition, it is phone calls to hundreds of stores. We convert a small portion of those into qualified leads. We close those deals over the phone. And then what we've been doing now transparently is at the end of a month, we will go physically send one person to a location and close all the deals that we couldn't get over the phone. We found there's still convenience stores. There are some owners that are pretty kind of backwards. And so if you can show up in their face, they'll close the deal. And so it's a balance. But what we're seeing is the trend shift. We're starting to get some more inbound leads, some more energy around it. And so we'll start to see that kind of pivot. But for now, it's I still plan to send one person to a location. We'll target that location with the SDR and the phone calls and our digital, and then we'll kind of attack it in person. But
I'm assuming you guys are only starting this geographic location and expanding.
Right now we're in California. Of our 200 stores, we have a few that are non-California purely because they just found us. So we have a store in Oklahoma now, just kind of random, but we're seeing a lot of leads come in from Texas. So that is our next stop. But the system is built to be anywhere. They do have to do alcohol delivery because that's one of our key features. So there are about 10 states that don't. So I'm not going to Utah next. I am going to Texas. We will be in New York, that kind of stuff.
I may have some friends that own stores in Texas. All right, I have some friends.
Any stores you know, send them my way. I'll take qualified store leads any day, 100%. Liquor convenience, they don't have to sell liquor. Yeah, even chains. So we're actually talking to AMPM right now. We are onboarding some Circle K's right now. So
That was my next gas station. That was actually.
yeah, 100% we can do gas stations. And they have the branding, which is kind of funny, even though they're gas stations, but people recognize Circle K, AMPM. So they're
And
actually
they don't have their own system already?
not to manage all of their e-commerce. I mean, check out AMPM, just go to their app. It's like not an e-commerce app. It's just a engagement, like a social sort of app. It has their weird AMPM monster all over it. It's a weird app, and they're just starting to now try and follow suit with like 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven's killing it. We're not going to sell this to 7-Eleven. They don't need our help, but other places do, and they're not putting the infrastructure in to do it. And they struggle with kind of their franchising model, what they let their kind of individual stores do. But yeah, AMPM needs it, Circle K needs it, and
Good to know.
7-Eleven doesn't need it.
The other one's Rocket, I think.
Yeah, there's Rocket. There's a bunch of these gas station ones that are pretty big. We actually found out Circle K is bigger than AMPM. I thought AMPM was bigger. AMPM has about 1,000. Circle K is like 1,200. You nab one of these in a strategic. We're trying to go ground up, so we're adding kind of individual Circle Ks right now because they reach out to us. But over time, if we can make like a kind of a channel deal, that'd be incredible because we would obviously have a lot more stores. So.
Excellent. Anyone have any comments or questions? I do. Yeah, Paul.
I thought at the beginning, by the way, I haven't seen you present in quite a while.
Yeah.
It was like a whole different Jason up there. So congratulations. You've really made it zing.
Thank you.
I think at the beginning you were talking about the stores as your partner. And I know the difference, obviously, because I've been working with you, but I don't know that somebody in the audience would know the difference between brands and store partners.
Yeah.
I think you need to be really clear with that. And you might want to even change that last slide to say brands instead of partners.
Yeah, no, that's a good point in this one, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of partnerships. No, that's a really good point. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just one other thing that I picked up is on the financing, you verbally said a 20% discount.
But it says
Oh, it
25.
says 25, good call. Yeah, our old deal was safe note, 25% discount. New deal is convertible note, 20% discount.
Okay.
So good call. No, that's old news. But then interest rate, so.
On the revenue slide,
Yes.
you mentioned 12% VIG. And when you talk about it, it appears as if it's on all e-commerce and not just on the Bevz.
On our own, yeah.
So just make sure to identify that.
Yes, I kept it somewhat purposely vague. I'm not trying to lie about it, but just sort of like we were this and we are no longer. But I did get that question once.
So what happens to those of us that have the Bevz app on our smartphone? Is it
Great
still,
question.
is it still something we can use, or is it gonna go dormant, or how are you gonna handle that?
No, the answer is right now.
An NFT.
Yeah, right now it still works. It functions. We keep it going because some of our stores really like it. So it's part of our subscription platform. You still get your delivery app. As we flip to subscription, we won't charge any of those 12% fees. Just baseline. So it'll basically be a free app that you can get better margins on if you choose to use it. We're going to kind of play that out. The truth is, longer term, it may not make sense to have a consumer app anymore.
We can continue to support, put my Bevz hat on, we can continue to support the Bevz consumer app. It's already out there, it already works. We're happy to keep it limping along, and let folks use it if they want it. And if they don't, they don't.
Who does the fulfillment on, if I order something from the corner liquor store, who's gonna deliver that? I'm not gonna have a choice if I use the Bevz app.
Yeah. So right now, DoorDash or Uber. So we
Okay.
kind of met these partners in the early days.
And the store picks that vendor?
We pick that vendor based on availability and price. Yeah. So we're trying to make it as cheap for the cheap and fast for the convenience store and for the consumer. It just varies. Uber, DoorDash is better in certain places. Obviously, if you use DoorDash, then you're using DoorDash fulfillment. But if you're using Bevz consumer app, it'll be one of those, Uber or DoorDash.
The Bevz consumer app uses the driver platforms of the delivery services as opposed to the delivery services proper.
Okay, and then the fees that the delivery services charge is on top of my order, and how does that look from a consumer standpoint?
In the Bevz consumer app or in the other consumer apps?
In the Bevz.
Yeah, right now it's pretty transparent, or probably not transparent enough, honestly, but it's a service fee and a delivery fee. You pay both those fees. It's not cheap. It's a pretty in line with what's out there, but like we kind of said, we're not focusing on the consumer app. We're keeping it maintained at equal quality, but ultimately the challenge here being we can't invest the same time, money, energy that DoorDash can in their consumer app, and we don't want to. So it will keep limping along. It works effectively, but we're not going to have robust targeting and AI features. It's not worth us. We're putting that into the retailer side. So.
Great. Lucas,
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
really.
what do you think?
No, so just first off, looked great, way different than before. I don't think I'd seen it in a couple months. So way different. I guess my first question and the main question was, what did you said that your revenue was like 500K, right?
Yeah.
Something like 467. What percentage of that is the old type versus the new?
Yep. So no new on the subscription. I'll look at the camera. No new on the subscription yet. Launches September 1st. So right now, about 6% of our revenue, sounds small, is coming from the 12%. Truthfully, to get to this number, we make it from our brand partnership. So we're making most of our money off Anheuser-Busch, a soju company called Lotte. It's the way we bootstrap to get to where we are today. It's a fine line. We don't want to bring in too many brand partners and not offer the level of value that they're looking for, but we have a good situation now. As we scale, that's where, as I said at the beginning, they want the data. So if I have 200 stores, that's nice. If I have 5,000 stores, that becomes like a really valuable. But yeah, short answer is nothing from the new SaaS model. That'll come September 1.
Okay, so what is the percentage of brand versus the portion that you're sunsetting?
Once we go live with subscription, at the pace we're going, we'll have about a few hundred stores doing 50 a month. So it'll start to take more of the share. It'll be 10+%. As we start to add stores, as you can see here, it starts to shift, right? So what we found is we can charge brands more money, right? Anheuser-Busch can throw $5,000 and not really bat an eye. A convenience store can't. So what we do is when we start to get 5,000, 10, 20,000 stores, you'll see this number start to be a greater percentage in the brand partnerships. But right now it's still low. It's like 95% comes from brands. I'll launch subscription. It'll be about 85% will come from brands, and I'll slowly kind of move that closer to each other.
And with the new subscription model, you've got a new onboarding workflow as well.
Yep. So yeah, we will be able to more seamlessly and more quickly onboard a convenience store from inbound lead to sign up. Before, they actually couldn't do it without talking to us. Now they can. They still typically do want to talk to us, but it's a good workflow now. But yeah, no, all good questions. And trust me, we're eager to get that to be closer, to have more stores on subscription, but we got to get the e-commerce fully functional. We need more of those apps. We've made promises to our convenience stores. We're living up to them, but we have a little time, September.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind that the majority of the revenue is coming from brand partnerships, because you're going to continue doing that going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So, I mean, the where you're going to fall into problems is if if you were sunsetting that feature and it was developing a lot of the revenue, but it's not. So you should be on that side. Implementation. Let's talk about it. And I'm putting on my investor hat. This is not just for the pitch. I'm genuinely curious. How hard is it to implement, to bring on a new convenience store? How long does it take?
Yeah, it's not as hard as it seems. It's definitely, the challenge more comes in the earlier part. It's getting in front of a ton of convenience stores, getting them more comfortable having these conversations digitally or online. But we've had a pretty easy time getting stores. The truth is, because my Vic, who you know, is a liquor store owner. So we get to put the hat on. We're convenience store owners. We were built by convenience stores for convenience stores, and we were able to build trust a little more quickly that way. But my goal with this round is going to be speeding these up. So as Jim just mentioned, we've now built a workflow that stores can sign up on their own. We're investing a lot more time and energy on digital engagements with some of these stores, the Facebook group that we showed you. But what it takes now, 2 to 3 weeks, where we're making phone calls, setting up follow-up meetings the next week. Usually in 1 to 2 calls, the store's in or out. We do keep them on a list for follow-up, but ultimately it's not that hard to get the stores. It's just what I am hoping for as the trends change is, this is not like a consumer app selling, drinks to anyone over 21. You can't catch the convenience store owner just on Facebook titling themselves as I am convenience store owner. So we have a lot more of that. The good news is trends are changing, and owners are starting to pass on a lot of their stores to their younger generations, and those people are on Instagram, Facebook, Google, etc.
And to put my Bevz hat on and co-pitch for Jason, to answer your question in a bit more technical manner, and using DoorDash as an example, the new subscription workflow, we capture all of the relevant information that both Bevz needs to onboard a client, as well as DoorDash needs to onboard a client. We then dump, after they've gone through literally a couple-minute process workflow, which includes signing up with Stripe and Plaid in order to get immediate authorization to ACH, so that way payments can be made. We dump the information not only into our system, but also into DoorDash's systems simultaneously, and alert DoorDash that there's a new store to be onboarded, so they can click through. The store gets to decide whether they want to turn it on or off, and when they make that decision, it dumps it into DoorDash's system and alerts DoorDash that there's a new store to be activated. And this is we were the first ones ever to do this. They're not doing this with anybody else, DoorDash that is, because we've got the possibility and the opportunity to turn over so many stores so quickly that doing it in a manual process with DoorDash was just not really scalable. And so we worked with DoorDash, or I should say DoorDash worked with us, and we developed a workflow and a process to be able to automate this so we can get it down to a couple days.
And I'll add a few that's on the horizon. I don't want to act like we're doing this second, but they've been floated to us. So DoorDash, Uber, all these companies have said, when we can consistently show after months of working together that your stores are effective and they're better than our standard store, we will happily refer you stores. In fact, Grubhub even didn't want to sign the deal unless that was part of a strategy, which was, we give you stores, you give us. Grubhub worked better because they're weaker in California. So they were really excited to get our current stores, whereas they can give us more. So that's a really cool channel strategy. A couple others are like, our brand partnerships are so strong. How did we meet AMPM? Anheuser-Busch was talking to AMPM, felt that their e-commerce was really weak, and said, oh, our friends at Bevz can probably help you. So we're trying to operationalize some of these other channel partnerships. That would be e-commerce brands referring us. It would be our snack and drink brand partnerships referring us, our current stores referring us. We did some data on our own stores and found that about 8% of our stores we're referred from another store with no program in place, that's definitely something we can amplify. So a lot on the horizon, but we've had, limited budgets, limited teams. So we'll use the pre-seed to really flesh out more effective channel marketing and go-to-market stuff. And last thing I'll just give you, just because it's you, Lucas, is we just got into an accelerator called Stage 2. They'll be giving us an 100K investment, and their whole accelerator is go-to-market. So I'm really excited. They work with other big SaaS players. They have people from Toast, who we kind of associate ourselves with, the convenience store version of Toast. So I think we'll have a lot of good stuff to come for go-to-market.
Is that a signed deal?
They sent me the term sheet. Yeah. What they want to do though is match it with our lead, which is golden section. So they're saying once that's finalized, we'll just do that. But they sent me like a board advisory agreement and a welcome email to the accelerator and the 100K. So it's not in my bank yet, but we're close.
Congrats. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
I got a couple questions. And if you said this, I apologize. So, how many stores do you guys currently have?
200.
Okay. And what percentage of the stores that you guys pitch end up closing?
Good question. From start to finish, it's pretty low. If we make 100 phone calls, it's a number I should memorize, but I can get it to you. But in the kind of workflow, we would make 100 phone calls. We can get about 25 of those to talk to us one more time. Of the 25, we're getting about 5 to 10 to close. And then probably of those 5, it's going in person and nailing that.
5
So,
to 10%.
yeah, if that, it's probably a little lower, but we're starting to learn what's getting them to convert. So yeah, 5 or so percent.
And this is also with the very difficult sign-up process, which
The
requires
DocuSign.
not only calls, but in face, you got to sign some contract. So it's a lot of nudging.
Where do you guys ultimately see that number being? Where's the sort of the equilibrium? Where like, yeah, this is it. This is the number we should be projecting into.
It's a good question. I don't know if I can answer it because I don't think that's the end all be all. I think if it goes too low, 1% or something, I'm gonna have a problem.
I would imagine totally.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
You guys got to say.
But I think we can float in a pretty low realm because I think the game changers come with referral programs.
Right.
That's like, if I can maintain a 5 to 10 to 15, great. If I can start increasing it to 20, 25, I'm killing it. But the truth is, to really hit those kind of steep growth, I need bulk stuff. So I need something like DoorDash to give me 500 stores, or we're looking into like a third-party sales organization that will just spread it. So
The problem is that's sort of, well, not the third-party sales organization. Referrals and the DoorDashes of the world, that's out of your control.
Totally.
You can't scale that, right?
Nah.
You have to focus on what you can control and everything else.
Which is this, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as I maintain it, we're growing at the pace I want to be. We'll double the amount of stores before we raise another round. And by that point, I need more data. I have a limited data, right, to show you like 8% refer. Where I want to see is what we can control, our own stores referring each other. We can't absolutely control it, but when we build in a really robust program, so I want to see that number more than I want to see this 5 to 10% close rate go. And more I'm focusing on it not dipping, because as we scale, I can't have one of my founding team members do all the work, right? So Cody on our team, excellent at selling over the phone, closing deals. Vic, excellent at selling over the phone. As we scale, we're going to bring in new people. They're going to be maybe less experienced, less effective. So I'm making sure it doesn't drop, and then trying to focus more of my personal time on these strategic partnerships that can level it up. But that's a good question. I'll get those more specifically kind of lined out.
Last question. When you guys are selling the liquor stores, do you have any sort of quantifiable data that says this is why you should sign up for our program? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, a little bit. Right now, we need more data, but what we're telling them is what they're losing, right? So how did I get that $8 billion number at the beginning? Is what we're finding is when they're not using a platform like Bevz, they're losing about 1 to 2% of in-store orders of not ordering the right inventory. And what we've seen is about 15%, up to 15%, they're making mistakes on their e-commerce. So the math we can do is on average, you're doing, a few orders a week, $50 per order, you're losing, $125. So it makes sense for you to pay us $50 a month. That's not even the time you're saving. That's purely just the money. It's easier to speak their language right now around money than around time. But over time, I think a few stores we've met will have used a couple or a few e-commerce platforms, then got rid of them. I couldn't handle all of them. I picked the best one. They're an easier sell. I don't even need quantifiable data. I just come in and I'm like, which ones have you used? Oh, I used DoorDash, Uber, and Postmates, but I was getting the most on Postmates, so I got rid of the two. It's too hard. What if I could give you for $50 a month, all of it back on one platform? They're like, I'm in. So it depends, but it's a good question.
And one source to manage
Yeah.
the menus on all of those.
They have too many,
platforms. Sync it.
you just have too many items.
We're giving them counter space back
Yeah.
and menu management right off the bat with all of the mobile, so with all the delivery services. And they're just not technically savvy enough to be able to all the time.
Yeah, of course.